Welcome back to another episode of Second Take. Both of us are a year older now that you've seen us. I am 20, Anthony's 19. Anthony, how are you? How's the birthday?
It was good. I just kind of chilled, had some dinner. What about you, Jill?
I have to say the same. Very good, very fun birthday. I loved it. So we're going to dive into some football. Texas had a bye week this weekend. I'm wearing my Texas shirt because when there's a bye week, you can't lose. So I'm pretty happy. And we do have some Texas news. David Ash stepped away from football, he announced. He is no longer going to be a football player. We all know David Ash had a serious concussion last year that kept him out basically the entire season. Got concussed in, the second game of this season? First game of this season, actually. I lied. He didn't play BYU. So it's kind of one of those things, concussion, he could not escape. It's the end for him, and this is really sad because I loved him as a quarterback. I really thought he was going to be what Texas needed, and I think he could be if things had gone differently. It was just a bad series of events. I feel for him. We loved him. Wish him the best. And then another Texas player got dismissed this morning. He was previously suspended, Kennedy Estelle. He's been suspended since this summer, and now he's the ninth player dismissed by Charlie Strong. So no one's safe. And all we know is he violated team rules. That's what he did originally to get suspended. And then I guess he did a little more of it. So now he's gone.
Moral
So,
of the story, don't piss off your coach.
yes, don't piss off your coach, and don't piss off Charlie Strong. I mean, he's not someone to mess with. That's
Exactly.
that. All right, we're going to dive into some college football. Just go over some of the scores. Notable games this weekend. Number 5, Auburn played number 20, Kansas State. Kansas State is a Big 12 team, so this is an important game for us. Auburn ended up winning 20-14. Pretty close. Did not expect it to be that close. Other notable games. Texas A&M destroyed SMU, but I don't really find that too notable. Kenny Hill is still trying to in the Heisman race. They have him at 5th right now. I'm not. He's kind of whatever. I mean, he's doing well. I'm more on board with him than I was with Johnny Manziel. But that's another discussion for another day. We had a few upsets. Indiana beat number 18 Missouri, 31-27. Mississippi State upset number 8 LSU, 34-29. This was a very exciting game. Really, no one expected this upset, but it happened, and that's why we love college football. Number 4 Oklahoma was struggling against West Virginia for a while, but ended up taking the W 45-33, which I was very disappointed about because I really wanted Oklahoma to lose. And then Clemson, number 22 Clemson, and Florida State, number 1 Florida State, played a game, went into overtime. Florida State won 23-17, and they played without Jameis Winston, which we have not talked about yet. And then one more game to talk about. Number 2 Oregon got probably the closest they've gotten in a while to losing against Washington State, 38-31. So the Jameis Winston story is he stood up in the Union at Florida State and screamed or yelled some profane language that has been a very popular meme on Twitter. I personally found it funny, but then I kind of thought about it. I was like, hey, he probably shouldn't do that. He thinks he's invincible, whatever. He gets suspended for half the game, and then I believe it was Saturday morning they announced it was Friday at midnight they announced that he was going to be suspended the whole game. When the game started, Jameis Winston actually came out in full pads to warm up, and then his coach sent him back in to take off the pads because you're not playing, buddy. You're suspended. I guess he didn't know what suspended meant. They still won without him, which kind of was pretty impressive for all of us against Clemson. I mean, that was a good matchup. So pretty good for them. What are you thinking about Jameis Winston and Florida State?
Well, first off, I did think it was funny too, but after all the circumstances of the stuff that's been happening recently, I think it's gonna come down harder on him because it seems like every sport has to deal with stuff that doesn't have to deal with the actual sport, and he picked the wrong time to act like a college student instead of a professional. So that was dumb. And I think I give him props for coming out and actually trying to warm up and say, hey, I still want to be a part of this team. I'm still a player. But at the same time, it was right of the coach to tell him to go back. I mean, you're suspended. You can't.
I think it's funny. I saw that as, oh, that's what suspended means? I thought he didn't know what suspended means. I didn't think he was coming out trying to be a part of the team. I thought he was just confused.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's done some dumb stuff leading up, but I'm a hope that this wasn't one of those dumb things.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. We're giving James the benefit of the doubt, but he's done a lot of dumb stuff. Another thing following this weekend, Oklahoma is now ranked #1 to the college football playoff poll or something, whatever their new ranking system is. We don't have BCS, so we have that now, I guess, which I don't like. But when you're #1, the only way you can go is down. So we're ready. OU Texas is coming up this weekend. Texas plays Kansas at Kansas. Hopefully this one goes well. I don't know. We will see, because you never know with Texas, and you never know. That's basically. What about Boise State? What do y'all got?
Well, we won last week, so that was a plus. I mean, we don't really play the best team, so it wasn't really exciting, but we moved up in the rankings. We're almost into the 20s. I think we're 31. So we're moving up there. Hopefully we'll make the playoffs. I doubt it, but
Right, because there's 4 teams in the playoffs.
I mean, but there's one team that makes it in a non-power conference. So
Okay. Yeah, Texas quarterback Tyrone Swoop says despite 2 losses, he still thinks Texas will make the playoffs, which I shook my head at, because who are we in a conference with? Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Yeah. Looking forward to this weekend, we got a few good matchups. We got #11 UCLA against #15 Arizona State. That should be a good one. Going forward, will Texas A&M lose to Arkansas? Probably not, but we'll give that a go anyway. Yeah, a Big 12 matchup, Baylor against Iowa State. None of these are that good. LSU is coming off of that loss. They're playing New Mexico State. Not expecting that to be anything bad. A good matchup could be Missouri versus South Carolina, except Missouri's now out of the rankings after that one loss, because that's how college football works. So that could still be a good matchup. You never know. So maybe we'll get some upsets this weekend. Maybe not. Still waiting for some exciting game to capture us, which we haven't had yet. All right, you want to move on to some NFL?
let's move on to NFL.
All right. I need to brag real quick about my Eagles. My Eagles got quite a nice win against the Redskins. Let me say, let's talk about Jeremy Maclin. Jeremy Maclin's had this injury. He barely played much last year, and everything was Deshaun Jackson. Then Deshaun Jackson gets traded to the Redskins, and we're like, oh, God, we're going to suck because we don't have Deshaun Jackson. But we have Jeremy Maclin, and Jeremy Maclin showed out. Again, I could only watch, 5 minutes of the game, because that's how Fox works here, is I don't get any of the games I actually want to see. Instead, I was stuck watching the Texans game, I think it was, or the Cowboys, some bad game I didn't care to watch. Anyways, and yes, I had to throw shade a little bit for the Cowboys just to piss off Anthony. But yeah, the few minutes I did get to see, Jeremy Maclin did a great job. Foles got hit really hard. There was a fight that broke out. 2 players got ejected off of a dirty hit on Foles, but then today the NFL said that it wasn't a dirty hit. It was a little late, little after the fact, needed to be done. He took it like a champ. Foles was proving how tough he is and how he can handle this game, and he just did a great job, and I'm so proud of my Eagles. We are 3-0, and we are killing it. Killing it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I hate to say it, but the Eagles are the powerhouse team in our division right now, so I hand it to you. I give it to you and your Eagles.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But the Cowboys are right behind you guys, so watch out.
Yeah.
Romo decides to play good in the second half this year, not just the first half. So.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. I do want to talk about Green Bay lost to Detroit 19-7, which is actually very surprising. Green Bay has 2 losses. They are just not doing their best at all, which is pretty surprising, because I've always thought that Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the NFL. I think he's an amazing quarterback. So I'm not sure what exactly it is going on with the Packers. Could be a random slump. You never know. High expectations, not living up to it. I don't know what it is. We've got some weird stuff going on. Let's talk about Minnesota. Minnesota lost 29 to the Saints because they didn't have a little guy named Adrian Peterson because he's currently getting, in trouble for something that shouldn't be even discussed right now because it's not like he did anything wrong, but that is a personal view, and I will move on. One of the bad games I was stuck watching was the Giants versus the Texans, and the Giants ended up winning. Two teams that really suck, and we found out who sucked less, and that was the Giants, so congrats. And then Dallas barely won against the Rams, but Anthony wants to gloat about it, so gloat away.
All I have to say is we pulled out a good win, which we haven't done in a while, and since 2006, Tony Romo has the most fourth quarter comebacks in the NFL, 21.
Well, the only reason he needs to come back is because he's always losing going into fourth quarter.
Well, at least he comes back. At least he pulls out the win.
So it's A for effort over here is what we're saying. Another weird outcome was San Francisco lost to the Cardinals 23-14. San Francisco, another team that we all think is pretty good. Colin Kaepernick, Vernon Davis, some great guys out there, not getting it together, losing to the Cardinals. Weird. You can never predict the NFL. Is what I've learned. We did have a Super Bowl rematch, Denver versus Seattle, ended in overtime, and Seattle was the victor once again, won 26-20. Something about Seattle just gets Peyton Manning, gets the whole Broncos team. I don't know what it is. Maybe I never will. But regardless, that's that. Pittsburgh had a pretty impressive win against the Panthers, but it's not that impressive because it was the Panthers. They won 37-19. And then our Monday Night Football game was Chicago versus the Jets, another classic right there. The Bears won 27-19. Am I surprised that the Jets lost? Absolutely not. I think the Bears are looking real good. They're doing a great job. I'm not saying they're going to a Super Bowl, but it's something new from them. Jay Cutler is finally playing decently.
Yeah, they're a playoff team. They're not a Super Bowl team. They're a playoff team. The Jets, on the other hand, should probably play Michael Vick because Geno Smith is garbage.
I completely agree with you. Completely agree. I love Michael Vick. I think Michael Vick is a very talented quarterback. Not that many years left in him, and yet they're having him sit down on a bench while Geno Smith is in the game.
I honestly think it'd be better if they just take Geno out and just don't even let Michael Vick pass, just let him run, because Geno Smith is going to throw a pick every time he passes. So at least they have Michael Vick running and not throwing picks.
All right. Yay. Again, Anthony's very optimistic today, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. So coming up this weekend for the NFL, we got a matchup of the 1 and 2s. Everyone who's 1 and 2. New York versus Washington. Both of them have 2 losses, so it's gonna be. Expect this to be a great one, real great one. Green Bay, Chicago. Just talking about how Green Bay is cold and Chicago's looking pretty hot. That could be a good one. Another battle of people we don't care about. Buffalo and Houston, both 2-1 somehow, but shouldn't be too impressive. You got Saints playing Dallas. I know Anthony over here is probably crying about that because I'm still on board with the Saints. The Saints haven't lost me yet. Still have faith in Drew Brees. I still have faith in that team.
Saints will lose. Just call it. Saints will lose. I'm calling it.
Right. My Eagles are playing the 49ers. 49ers are not looking too good. Just said how they lost their 1 and 2 or 3 and 0. You can expect us to be 4 and 0. We probably will be. And our Monday Night Football game is Patriots versus Chiefs. Not going to be the best game to watch, but it's football. I watch football regardless of what it is.
And that's funny because last year that would have been a great matchup, but
isn't that weird how that happens? It really would have been a great matchup, but I think Jamal Charles is still dealing with an injury and everything's just changed.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to talk a little bit about Adrian Peterson because today in my criminal justice class I actually learned that once you are indicted, you are more likely to get convicted. It's extremely likely that you will be. And he has already been indicted. They indicted him while he was still in Minnesota from Texas. So it's not looking good for Adrian Peterson. I do not think he deserves jail time whatsoever. He is known for being a very nice guy. Again, a thing that I think that they should look into is also that Adrian Peterson has a couple of children, all with women he is not married to. So you can kind of understand any bias that would have been from the child's mother about pressing these charges. I hope everything gets worked out for Adrian Peterson. The NFL misses him. I think this is just a messy situation, and we see the NFL cracking down on things that shouldn't be cracked down on while Ray Lewis is still walking around free. Free as a bird. Speaking of stuff and women and guys messing up, we announced a few weeks ago that Ron Washington was stepping down from the Rangers, and then he came out and said it's because he was unfaithful to his wife. We're not really sure what that had to do with resigning. I'm pretty confused. Anthony, you're a Rangers fan. Do you know any insight?
I have a lot to say about this. Okay, one, yeah, you cheated on your wife. Okay, I remember back in the day when you did something personal, you wanted to go to your sport to release your tensions and get your mind off things, not resign from your job to think about it more. He's been our manager and has done very well for the organization. In the 1 year we're doing bad, he decides to cheat on his wife and now resign. So not only are we doing bad, not only have we lost our best players to the Angels and any other team that wants to take our all-star players, but now we have lost our manager. So it's not looking good for the Rangers. Ron Washington, I hope you figure it out and decide to come back, maybe. But yeah, he's gone.
It is a really weird situation. Just this weird trend we're seeing of big sports news having nothing to do with sports, but rather how these guys are messing up with women. And that speaks for itself in a generational way in the bigger life picture, but we don't need to spend time on it. Did he need to say this was the reason he was stepping down? No. What does one have to do with the other? I have no idea. No idea. I mean, look at Tiger Woods. He cheated aplenty. He didn't step down. He only did something about it when he got hit with, a frying pan or something? That's when he did something about it. And that's probably why he's not going to golf anymore, is he had a little bit of damage from that. But anyways, I don't know what...
I'm pretty sure his was worse, too. A lot worse.
Exactly. We're hoping, maybe Ron Washington has some secret life we're going to learn about, but it is a very weird situation. And unless it was he got involved with something that the MLB suggested he step down, or the Rangers organization suggests he step down, maybe more will come out about this, because right now it's making absolutely no sense.
None at all. I agree. None.
Yeah. So that's about as much baseball news as we have. As far as NBA, there's not much to talk about except that Lance Stevenson made a rap song and dropped a video, and it is quite comical. He remixed a very popular song by a rapper named Bobby Shmurda. Yes, you can tell he is a class act, that Bobby Shmurda. And Lance Stevenson was actually hilarious. There's really no words to describe it. If you want to watch it, feel free. He made a little bit of a fool of himself, but he does mention about how he has a lot of love for the Pacers in Indiana, and now he is at Charlotte now. So talks about that in it. I guess that's the only relevant part of it. He does talk about shooting threes, so expect some threes from Lance Stevenson, because that's what his rap career is saying.
Yeah, and also, nice to make a rap song, Lance, and nice to copy it and all, but Bobby Shmurda is now in jail for a gun charge and is facing up to 15 years. So probably a smart idea to remix his song when there's a bunch of stuff going on with the NFL, NBA, MLB, and every other sport you can think of with people and personal issues. So just watch out for that, Lance.
Just athletes, lay low. Just whatever you think might be a good idea, it's not, so don't do it. Just lay low until the season starts. We're, I think, 35 days away from the NBA season. I'm so excited. Excited to see my Lakers. I have high hopes for us. I think Kobe's coming back pretty strong. We have a whole new mix-up. The Heat are not the Heat anymore. They're Chris Bosh and D Wade. No LeBron. LeBron's back on the Cavs. The Cavs are now a new team. It's definitely going to be a fun season for the NBA. I'm excited because we're about to be in a few months where we get college, NFL, and NBA. Could this be any better? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything better.
Best time of the year. Best time of the year.
You said it perfectly. I have no other thing to say than that. So we will see you guys again next week. hopefully we have some exciting game that just is crazy, or someone else drops a mixtape. I don't know. But we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great week.